And there's a bunch of chatter about it in Telegram groups and Signal groups or what have you here, but no one has really addressed this. And I think the reason is because no one wants to take, here's a monkey wrench. Oh, Trump campaign. No one wants to throw the proverbial monkey wrench into the campaign. Oh, come on, King Dude, just leave good enough alone. Yeah, he's not our guy when it comes to abortions, not our guy when it comes to social, moral issues and topics. Yeah, he's not our guy on homosexuality and what have you. Yeah, he's not our guy on homo marriage. Yeah, and the list goes on and on and on and on. The big thing about this is, and most people are going like, he said we're sending it back to the states. So let's just let him send it back to the states, okay, and not worry about what plants crave. Now, somebody is going to say, yeah, I thought you were a little Republican, church. Why aren't you okay with just sending it back to the states? It's not that I'm not okay with it, but voting to kill babies should not be on ballots. I'm sorry, it just shouldn't. You don't get to vote on things that are mortally sinful and are going to send people to hell. You just, to put that to a vote is like saying like, oh, okay, we're going to have a referendum. Okay, everyone on this side of the town, do you want to go to hell or do you want to go to heaven? Everyone on this side of the town, do you want to go to hell or do you want to go to heaven? Bring Oprah in there. You go to hell. You go to hell. Everybody goes to hell. I hope people can understand this is a complete and total failure of this thing called democracy. No, there's certain things that are not up for voting. You know, I can flesh more of this out. There's a lot to get to here today. Okay, I shall not name the source, but last night someone sent me a tip. And the tip involves, I'm not even going to mention the name because I want to get a little bit more on the source. A very, very popular pro-life activist. It's very active on Twitter and on TikTok and on other social media. It involves the finances of her group. And the person who sent me the tip said, King Dude, bad news. Inside this movement, lots of millions of dollars raised for the protection and defense of the soon-to-be born by this pro-life foundation or fund or whatever the case may be. Lots of it spent on galas and parties and such. And then the person, my source, sent me the tax return, because it's a nonprofit. They're all public, right? Sent me the tax return for the person's group in question. Now, I can verify that the group is correct. Because I got it this morning, I'm like, well, I can't really act upon this, but I will check it out. This is what I wanted to bring up about that. Why I think that this abortion thing, I watched in the entirety now of Kristen Welker's interview with J.D. Vance. As she asked him if there was a ban on partial birth abortion that was sent to Trump's desk if he were president, would he sign it? And Vance said he would not. He'd veto it. Now, she didn't say partial birth abortion. But I just happen to know that the bill in the House of Representatives is one against partial birth abortion, and that if there is a concurring voice in the Senate and Trump is president, they are going to pass that resolution or that bill. It is going to come out of the House, probably going to be 20 weeks, which would include partial birth, and they're going to send it to Trump. And if Vance is correct, then Trump's going to veto it. No, the states get to decide. We're not having any of this. We're not doing this at the federal level. We want to take it. Now, there is something to be said for that this should actually be adjudicated and dealt with locally. I don't necessarily disagree with that. But I think that in this instance, since all power comes from God, no man has any power unless God gave it to him, right? And if all power is heaven sent and ultimately comes from heaven, I don't think God gave you power so you could kill the soon to be born. Those are his creatures too. Remember, he cooperates with man in the use of his and her reproductive powers, and one of the blessings you get out of that is a soul. A human, eternal, immortal soul. It is not created for an ephemeral amount of time. It is created for forever. So no, I don't think that you get a vote on this. I think this is part of this mindset here, though. This took I think that the brainwashing that is responsible for this, the programming, the sheer mental programming that had to go into it. I mean, this is thinking that is as a result of a revolution. The only way that this is going to be undone in the short run is by a divine intervention, by God going like, all right, that's it, kill another one, and I'm going to kill you. I said I wouldn't do it by flood again. I gave you a promise. You got my rainbow as a promise and all that. I never said I wouldn't take you idiots out with a comet. I said flood. I never said volcano. I never said typhoon or hurricane. I never said tsunami. Well, I guess. All right, flood's covered by tsunami. Hey, Michael, is flood covered by tsunami? Yeah, God, I think it is. Okay. Yeah, all right, well, I won't do the tsunami. But there are a lot of people that are talking about Vance's. Do you have the Kristen Welker audio still from yesterday, Maggie? They're talking about this, and a friend of mine sent this to me. He goes, King, dude, this is just cowardice. And I went, well, no, it's not cowardice, because Vance is asked what Trump would do. Vance was not asked what he would do. And I think that this is Vance just being a good lieutenant. Now, I would have preferred, and maybe he just doesn't want to, he's just been told, don't address it. Just leave it. Say veto, say left to the states, and just don't give them anything to hit you on. But it is a disturbing thing to have seen. I know who it was. It was Demosthenes the Younger on Twitter, who said that this was a supreme act of cowardice here. And then why wouldn't you? Yeah, here it is. So if you're wondering what I'm talking about, now look, I think this is important. Some of you may not have seen this yet. Now, again, my view on this and on J.D. Vance is not that this is Vance again being a steward and a guardian of Trumpism. This should dispel all of this. This is why it's so important to have a good vice president. I think it is to get good advice, but you also want a good lieutenant. You guys that are in the military, you guys understand this. There's a chain of command. Trump is a commander-in-chief. Vance is an admiral. Look at it that way. He's not CIC. He's got to go to the CIC and go, okay, boss, what do you want? Well, I don't think you should move that piece of, okay, you want to do it? Well, no, I'm going to carry out the order, dude. It's a lawful order. I'm going to carry it out. In this instance, though, and this is where I think Catholics need to pipe up and say, JD, we are not happy with you. You're supposed to be in the Catholics for Catholic group. You're an adult convert. You know better. You know what the teaching is. We expect more from you. And I think maybe that if he hears that, and if you prayerfully say that, then maybe there will be some action behind the scenes. That's what you can hope for. But anyway, this is what I'm talking about. This is Kristen Welker, CBS News, J.D. Vance, Sunday.
Let's talk about another big issue. It was talked about at the Democratic National Convention. It's being talked about on the campaign trail. Abortion. Sure. Democrats made the case this week and beyond this week that Donald Trump, if elected, will impose a federal ban on abortion if he wins. Now, Donald Trump says he won't, but can you commit, Senator, sitting right here with me today, that if you and Donald Trump are elected, that you will not impose a federal ban on abortion?
I can absolutely commit that, Kristen, and Donald Trump has been as clear about that as possible. I think it's important to step back and say, what has Donald Trump actually said on the abortion question, and how is it different from what Kamala Harris and the Democrats have said? Donald Trump wants to end this cultural war over this particular topic. If California wants to have a different abortion policy from Ohio, then Ohio has to respect California and California has to respect Ohio. Donald Trump's view is that we want the individual states and their individual cultures and their unique political sensibilities to make these decisions, because we don't want to have a nonstop federal conflict over this issue. The federal government ought to be focused on getting food prices down, getting housing prices down, issues, of course, where Kamala Harris has been a total disaster. So I think Donald Trump is right. We want the federal government to focus on these big economic and immigration questions. Let the states figure out their own abortion policy.
Let me just follow up with you a little bit on that point, because I've been talking to Republicans, including Senator Lindsey Graham just last week, who've made it very clear that if Donald Trump is elected, if you are elected, they will continue to press this point. Senator Graham said to me, I'm going to keep saying that there should be a federal ban. If such a piece of legislation landed on Donald Trump's desk, would he veto it?
Well, I think it'd be very clear he would not support it. I mean, he said that explicitly. Yeah, I mean, if you're not supporting it as the President of the United States, you fundamentally have to veto it.
So he would veto a federal abortion ban?
I think he would. He said that explicitly that he would. And
I don't
again,
think he's ever said explicitly he would. He said that to you?
Lindsey Graham, Kristen, I would be surprised. I mean, again, I need to see the context on what Lindsey Graham said, because Lindsey Graham himself has not advocated a federal abortion ban. Lindsey Graham has advocated a federal minimum standard. Now, to be clear, that is not Donald Trump's view. Donald Trump disagrees with Lindsey Graham on this, but no Republican, at least no Republican with any reasonable power, is saying that we should have a complete national abortion ban. I haven't heard that from any of my colleagues. And to be clear, Donald Trump, I think, has staked his position and made it very explicit. He wants this to be a state decision. States are going to make this determination themselves.
All right.
So there you have it. I mean, that's out of his own, in his own words. I think that the states are going to make this determination. Okay, there's a problem with that. Courts. And then, what if it's the state? But what if it's the people of the state? The pro-life movement was not prepared for this to go back to the states. It just wasn't, and it isn't, and it's a disaster. Look at what might now happen in Florida. We've been talking about, what is it, Amendment 4, Proposition 4, I think it is, in Florida, which is basically going to make abortion legal up until the nanosecond right before the eyeballs come out of the birth canal, and you can actually say, oh, look, it's a baby. Well, no, dumbass, we knew it was a baby 9 months ago. Following what happened in Ohio, following what happened in Kansas, following what happened in Montana. You know, the Democrats are out there and they're crowing us, see, when you put it on the ballot, when you put a woman's right to choose on the ballot. Well, this is all in marketing and sloganeering and the way the amendments are phrased. And they know that it's about the way the amendments are phrased. If they just went in there, kill baby up until day that it's born, yes or no, it goes down in flames. If you phrase it differently so that the legal end result is kill baby up until day it is born, then it passes. If you disguise it in legerdemain, there's a big word for you, in legalese, ladies and gentlemen, in legerdemain, then, wait a minute, what does that say? And then you get the nut jobs out there. It says you want to take my right away from me. I'm not going to be on the road. I'm not going to have no birth control. And then you get the screaming banshee harlots brigades out there. And then all of a sudden, just like it happened in Ohio, no one knew what it really said, but no one wanted to tell the precious woman. Actually, you know, if you look at the map, the electoral map in Ohio, it did not pass outside of Cleveland and Cincinnati. Proposition 1, Amendment 1, or Amendment 2, whatever it was, did not pass. If you took Cincinnati and Cleveland, basically, I think there was maybe one other city, and you took the major city, the major urban landscapes, where all the Democrat Party power is concentrated, if you took it out of the state of Ohio, it did not pass in any other county. It failed in every other county, which is another reason why, ladies and gentlemen, here in the state of Louisiana, I've offered, no one will listen to me, but I'm going to keep trying. I have offered, and by the way, Office of Governor Jeff Landry, if you think that just turning me down once for an interview that I'm going to go away, I'm going to make a request for every hour of every day of this show for the next 3 months until you say yes. But I have suggested that any amendment to the Louisiana Constitution, for example, and I think every state ought to have something like this, you can't just pass that with a majority vote. That's stupid. It ought to require a supermajority of 3/4 of the population or 7/8 of the counties or parishes here in the state. In any event, it's a big issue, and the true social media post that I talked about yesterday of Trump saying, "I'm going to make reproductive freedom great for women in my administration." An unforced error. You cannot lose the evangelicals out there, and I don't know that he's going to because of the alternative. But I'm going to keep an eye on this. Keep praying, folks. Pray for men to be courageous in this. When Trump was courageous in this, and he was going to you remember when he walked down the street, when he went and spoke at the 2019, the 2020 right to life rally, the big one that they had before the repeal of Roe. He was the first president to actually go and address the crowd. He went and spoke at it. And he said life at conception. He wrote an executive order about St. Thomas More right before he left office. And he mentioned life at conception. So I think that this is, I don't think that this is the dagger. I think this is political brinksmanship. And I think this is going like, I'm not going to give you this issue. Because I got to get elected, so I'm just going to take. This is their effort to take it off. My view is they're trying to take it off the table. That's what I think. I don't think that the crazy, angry, ugly women out there could be placated by it. They're not going to buy it. Doesn't matter how Vance goes out there or how Trump or anyone else goes out there and says they're not. Their mind is made up. We want to kill babies, and we want the right to do it whenever the hell we want to do it at whatever stage of the pregnancy. We want the right to sell them. We want to become surrogates. We want to become basically the producers of chattel slavery products. The people that can't be bothered to have babies. These are all moral abominations. And we don't live in an age where moral abominations piss everybody off or make most people think that, I don't think that should happen. That's unfortunate, but that's where we live. Here. Do what you can where we are, not where you want to be, right? Mike Churchill and the Crusade Radio Network invited you to become a Founders Pass member today. Now, look, I chopped the price in half. If you go to crusadechannel.com/offer, you can get the Make American Talk Radio Great Again baseball cap for free. Sign up for 1 year, and I chopped the price in half. It was already half price for a year. Now it's a quarter. 75% discount just to get someone to go to the dang page, crusadechannel.com/offer, and become a Founders Pass yearly member today and support the Crusade Radio Network. Again, crusadechannel.com/offer. There is a free option there. Try it for 30 days. If you're not convinced, there's no credit card, just a name and an email. crusadechannel.com/offer. Big day yesterday at Arlington National Cemetery. Where was Biden, by the way? I thought Biden's out there. Now, how does he say it? Dog-faced pony... Lion, dog-faced pony soldier. Lion, dog-faced pony soldier. Biden is now on his second week of vacation, or his fourth week of vacation. This is the second venue here. There was a wreath laid on behalf of the 13 servicemen and women that were killed in the evacuation of Afghanistan. By the way, why didn't the woman that wants to be commander-in-chief, why wasn't she there to command and be chief yesterday? Biden was absent. Why didn't she take his place? Why did it look like when I turned Fox News on yesterday, it looked to me like Trump was president? He was standing there, he was saluting the honor guard as the announcement came and as the wreath was laid. He went up and he said what he had to say. He gave he addressed the National Guard convention yesterday. Tulsi Gabbard, we'll play you that clip in just a bit. Tulsi Gabbard came out and endorsed him. This was a very presidential moment. Why didn't Kamala, who's going to lead us all to the promised land, why didn't she show up yesterday and act presidential? Maybe it's because the winch isn't presidential and can't act presidential. You Democrats out there, this is your candidate? Hey, I have an idea. Why didn't you send Tampon Tim and the Tamponettes? He's a war hero. He carried weapons of war. Well, why didn't he show up in Arlington? Where were he? He's putative. If she's elected, he is the putative commander-in-chief. Should she get sick or be taken out of office for whatever reason or be out of the country and something needs to be done, why didn't you send Tampon Tim, the war hero? Instead, you get Trump, which I'm perfectly fine with. But, ladies and gentlemen, the choices and just the dichotomy of what is real and what is not just can't be more stark. By the way, Stalina Harris is now out there trying to get, who's doing the first debates? It's ABC. Telling ABC News, I'm not coming. I'm not doing the debate. I don't like your rules. I never agreed to those CNN rules. If you don't, no. Here's the rules. The only way I'm going is if you do this. She wants the debate. She wants them to be seated behind her little school, the K through 12 desks. She wants to be able to carry a notepad in there, and then she doesn't want the mics cut off. Well, what was wrong with the rules of that Biden agreed to? Which, by the way, Trump was not a fan of, and neither was I or anyone else when they first came out. But now that we know that she is terrified of them and she wants to bring a cheat sheet in there? Folks, come on, man.